When playing Factorio, there are plenty of reasons and plenty of ways to get rid of trees. Sometimes they're just in your way, so you bulldoze right through with a tank. Other times you're gearing up to attack a biter nest only to find a dense forest acting as their bodyguard. Grenades comes in handy there. Maybe you're expanding your factory only to realize a forest has claimed the exact spot you need, so you bring out the fire. And sometimes you just want to watch it all burn. All of these are valid reasons, but here's the real question: can you deforest your surroundings without consequences? Let's start from the beginning. What actually happens when you start clearing trees and placing machines? Everything you build, miners, furnaces, assembling machines, produce pollution. It's not always obvious at first, but as your factory grows, that pollution starts to add up, and if you're using coal for power, you're dumping out even more. But pollution doesn't stay confined to your base, it spreads, slowly but surely, across the surrounding area. The more you produce, the further it reaches. It's like an invisible wave radiating from your factory, painting the world red, whether you see it or not. At first, trees help. They absorb some of it, forests act like natural filters buying you time, but once you start cutting them down, you're setting them on fire, that natural defense is gone. And then pollution spreads faster, unchecked. This is where it starts to matter, because pollution isn't just a background detail, it directly changes how the game behaves. When your pollution cloud reaches biter nests, they don't ignore it, they react, and they do aggressively. They see it as a threat, and they'll begin organizing attacks, small at first, then larger, then constant. The more pollution you produce, the faster enemies evolve and the more pressure they put on your defenses. That's the hidden danger. The faster you expand, the stronger the attacks. So if you think of deforestation as just a visual choice or something to make space, you're missing the full picture. Pollution is a mechanic, one that links your actions to the world's reaction. And once you push the environment too far, it pushes back. So now you know pollution spreads, but what can actually slow it down? That's where trees come in. Forests aren't just pretty scenery in Factorio, they're your first line of defense against pollution. Every tree in the game passively absorbs pollution from the tiles around it. It's slow but steady, and when you have a dense forest near your base, that natural barrier can buy you time, a lot of it. Let's compare two simple scenarios. In the first one, your factory is surrounded by trees, pollution still builds up, but those trees act like sponges. They pull some of it out of the air, which keeps the spread slower and more contained. You can run your machines a little longer before your pollution reaches the nearest enemy nest. Now, take that same base but remove the forest, whether by fire, grenades or tanks. Suddenly, there's nothing stopping that red cloud from expanding. It spreads faster, further, and hits nests much sooner. Even a small patch of trees can make a difference, especially in early games. They don't block pollution entirely, but they delay the consequences. So, think twice before lighting up the woods. You might gain a bit of room, but you lose your first layer of defense. Pollution doesn't just spread, it escalates. When it reaches a biter nest, that's when things start changing. First, let's talk about aggro range. Biter bases don't attack your factory randomly, they have a pollution detection radius, and once your pollution cloud enters that radius, they take notice. The closer the nest is to your base, or the further your pollution spreads, the sooner you'll trigger a response. You might not even be anywhere near them, but your smoke and your smog, that's all they need to know you're there. After that comes the evolution factor, a hidden value that determines how dangerous biters become over time. It increases in three ways, gradually just from the time passing, every time a spawner gets destroyed, and from pollution. The more pollution you produce, the faster evolution rises, and as it rises, enemies change. Small biters turn into mediums, mediums become big, spitters start showing up, then behemoths, and suddenly your gun turrets that were once more than enough are getting overwhelmed. If deforestation brings consequences, then the next question is obvious: can you control pollution without cutting down every tree in sight? Absolutely. One of the best ways to start is with efficiency modules. These little chips reduce the energy usage and pollution output of machines, drop them into miners, furnaces, assembling machines, and you'll notice the difference. Fewer emissions per machine means slower pollution spread, and that means fewer biters problems down the line. Another major factor, your energy source. Steam power is one of the dirtiest options. Every boiler you run pumps out pollution constantly. Switch to solar and your power becomes clean, silent and completely pollution free. It takes more space, yes, but it's much more sustainable. And speaking of space, your factory layout matters more than you might think. Sprawling builds mean more belts, more pores, more pipes, and more forest clear to make room. But compact design they use less land and need less infrastructure and let you preserve more of the environment around you. It's not just efficient, it's cleaner. So if you want to keep your pollution down without wiping out every tree on the map, focus on these 3 things: efficient machines, cleaner power, and compact layouts. Keeping your factory small works for the early game, but what happens next? In the late game, pollution output doesn't just increase, it explodes. Massive smelting blocks, thousands of assembling machines, and an expanding logistic network. They all add up, and at that point, a few patches of forest won't make a difference. Trees simply can't keep up. And here's the kicker: even if your pollution isn't hitting new nests, the biters still evolve. That's because pollution isn't the only thing driving their aggression. Time and combat also play a role. The longer you play and the more nests you destroy, the more advanced your enemies become. Biter grows, Spitter joins in, and soon the battlefield is crawling with monsters built to tear your factory apart. So what can you do? The answer lies in adapting your strategy. First, remote outposts. Keep your dirtiest operation far from your core base. If biters attack, they'll hit a mining outpost, not your science hub. Second, strengthen your defenses. Whether you're using gun turrets, laser turrets, flamethrowers, or a mix of all 3, make sure they're well supported. Reinforce them with solid walls, automated repair systems using roboports, and layered coverage to handle different types of threats. The key isn't choosing one perfect defense, it's building a system that holds up and scales under pressure. So what about you? Have you ever regretted cutting down too many trees? Let me know in the comments, and if you found this helpful, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more videos. See you soon for the next one.